Hello, I am Dad. I am making a SQL injection tutorial for Hack Forums. I just wanted to shout out the forum here. I'm also doing this partially for the new award being offered. Let's get into it. So I made this website here where I'm going to be making some different challenges for practicing hacking, and I just wanted to go over with you guys the easy challenge and not just explain what the solution is, but really go in depth about how the code works and why our attack actually works. So right off the bat, we have a pretty simple login page here. We can try like admin, password, right? But we don't know the password, so we get hit with invalid credentials. That's really all we can do. So let's go ahead and jump into the source code a little bit. So the first thing that you need to understand is how a MySQL database actually works. I'll go into that in a moment, but first let's just review this code. So the first thing that we have is it checks our output. Let me go ahead and actually open up Burp Suite to show you a little bit about what goes on when you're actually using the internet. One moment. So I have this extension on here, and this links my browser up to Burp Suite by routing the traffic through it. You can also just change the browser setting, but I like the extension. Okay, so when I submit a login now, so admin, I'm just gonna say testing. You still get the invalid credentials, but we can see here our actual web requests that we made. And inside of our web request, our browser is sending this information. These are referred to as headers. That's going to be stuff like cookies or various different other things. What we're focused on right here is information at the bottom. This is a post request as opposed to a get request. The main difference is inside of a post request, we have stuff at the bottom here. This is referred to as the post body data. So we can see that our username variable is called username, our password variable is called password. We're sending them admin, and our password guess is testing, and it did not work. Let's take a look at the website code a bit more now. Okay, so when we access that login page, here's what goes on in the back end. It checks our post data right here, right? Fuck. It connects to the database. If it can't connect, it gives an error. It selects everything from the users table where this is what we're going to get into a string like this explaining how this works, but I'm just going to read it right now. Where username equals $username, this is our post data, and password, again, our post data, queries that. If we get anything back, then it gives us the login page here. Like gives us past it, gives us the key for the solution that there's a, anyways, if you log in, there's a place to put keys. But the ultimate goal isn't just to get that key, right? The ultimate goal is to actually understand how the challenge works. So let's continue. And if you give it the wrong credentials, then it gives us that error message we saw earlier. And we can see here's our form box where our post variable is getting set for our username and our password. So I'm going to demonstrate the exploit that we're going to use, and then I'm going to explain why it works. So we're going to try something that's referred to as a SQL bypass string. So first I'm going to demonstrate, and then I'm going to explain. So if I log in like this, single quote, space, and it doesn't matter what I put for the password. I'm just going to write password. And I go to log in, we can see it actually accepts that. If there was more to this website, it would maybe redirect to the home page and you'd be logged in. Let's go into why this actually works. let's take a look at our post data that we sent. And let me make this human readable. This is URL encoded, but it really looks like this with a space there. So this is the data that we're sending them. All right. So first, I just want to demonstrate how a MySQL instance actually functions. So I ran first show tables, and we can see the one table inside of our database, easy SQL, and then I selected all from that table, and we can see two columns, a username column and a password column, and there is one entry in each of the columns. And let's just demonstrate inserting another one. So if I'm manually doing stuff with SQL, I'll be inside of here, inside the MySQL console. We can see the user we entered. Now let's take a look at why this allows us to actually be able to log in. So if we take a look at a typical MySQL instance here, if this was coming from the post body data, it would look like this, right? And password equals $password. But in this case, I just want to demonstrate what a successful query looks like. So usually when we're inside the MySQL console here, we can see that we get a return query, which is greater than 1, which then causes the system to allow it to process. Let's just show that in the code again. So select star from users, where username equals user and password equals password. This is our post body data. Our post body data. So why does this allow us to log in? So usually we would need to know the username and the password for our query to return back anything, which would then allow us to log in. What we can do is actually a clever trick with how SQL works. So I'm going to go ahead and add some spaces right here, just to demonstrate that this is what's referred to as user input. This is what you choose to write in the username field when you go to log into the website. What if, instead of saying admin, we make our username admin, single quote, space, tac, tac. And what happens here when this gets ran? And let's also, just to demonstrate, we're just going to change this for our password guess. So I'm going to demonstrate this. Remember, this is our user input. Everything else was the original part of the website that we're abusing. And I'm going to remove these extra spaces. So remember, this is our user input. And we don't have their password in this example. Okay, 1 second. Okay. So we can see, great. Okay, so what happens here is it returns back everything. This tells SQL to comment out everything else. Notice that I had to type a semicolon. That's because the semicolon right here is actually commented out. So all that's actually processed is select star from users where username equals admin. Okay, well, we have, oh, well, when I inserted this one, I probably should have given it a different username, but that's okay. Anyways, we can see how making this our user input comments out this which then causes it to return back more than one column, which then returns back the success and allows us to log in. Now, you're not going to be able to use this on Facebook, Gmail, or anything like that, of course. Generally, I would only try to use SQL login bypasses during like hacking challenges or stuff like that. But in real life, some systems that might be vulnerable, again, do not exploit these systems. I'm just giving an example, are going to be smaller custom-made websites are going to be the ones that are vulnerable to that. For example, during a hacking event, a hacking competition, if a website that we're supposed to hack into looks like it was custom made, I would try a SQL bypass. In fact, I would not just try one, I would have a list of them. I would intercept the request in burp, the login request, and I would intruder that position based off of the SQL bypass list. But I'll save that for a different video. I'm going to try to keep this one around 10 minutes. If you like this video, this is the first one in the series. I'm going to try to make some more. I'm not really experienced with making videos, so I'm kind of trying my best here. Let me know how I did. Thanks. Shout out to Hack Forums again. Omni is really cool. Goodbye, everyone. See ya.